Hello friends, I'm Sherm Stanley at Trubiskita. Today I was thinking about journeys and the different journeys that I've been on, and I reflected back to a journey that I took in 2011 when I had some friends that talked me into taking a journey with them in a bicycle race. The bicycle race is called LOTOJA. Many of you may be familiar with this, but it's a race that goes from Logan, Utah to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's over 200 miles. So it's a journey that takes a lot of effort, and you can't just ride it all at once. You have to train for it. You have to put in time. You have to set goals, and you have to be motivated to continue through this journey to be successful. So my journey began. Several of us, every week we would ride. For me, it was twice a week for short rides and once a week for a long ride. And I would put in the effort. I had to watch my nutrition. I had to keep my bike working. So there was a lot of things that I had to do to keep my body in shape, as well as my mind focused on where my journey was going to end. I wanted to finish this race. 200 miles is a long ways to ride in one day. And I wasn't sure if I would be able to finish it. But I thought, that's all in my mind. And as long as I don't quit and I keep going, there's no way that I can't not succeed. So I began my training. There was days in the rain. There was days in the wind. There was days in the blazing hot sun and dehydration. But week by week, I felt my body getting stronger and that my mind was being more comfortable with the pain of long distance riding. So the day came when race day was there at the beginning of September. And the ride started great. I was with my friends. And within about the first 50 miles, I was the weakest rider. And I found myself alone. And when you're alone, what do? Do you push forward or do you quit? We can't quit in our journeys. We have to push forward. We have to cross those bridges and keep going and fight against that demon in our mind that says, nah, it's just easier to quit and stop. I didn't want to be that guy that quit. So I pushed on. Even though I was by myself, I would catch on to other riders and I would draft them for a minute. It would allow me to recover and feel stronger. I'd take a drink, get a little better nutrition in my body. That helped my mind feel better. So I continued to make this ride, and I got about 100 miles in where the steepest climb of the race is. And I was feeling pretty worn out as I was riding up this at about 100 miles into a 200-mile race. And about halfway up the steepest hill, I saw somebody on the side of the road. And there was a rider with his bike propped up against a sign on the side of the road. He was sitting cross-legged. His head was down, his helmet off, his shoes off, and he was throwing rocks at the ground. And what I saw was a defeated person, somebody that had given up, that said it's not worth it anymore. And in my mind, I instantly thought, I am not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be the guy with his helmet off, his shoes off, throwing rocks into the ground, being defeated. I had trained. I had been prepared. I could do it, even if I was not with my friends. There was other people around me, and if I pushed forward and kept spinning, had a little fortitude, a little perseverance, each mile would tick by. I soon found myself at the top of that steepest climb. I knew it was all downhill, relatively speaking. I still had some rollers and a little bit of climbing to go, but the hardest part was behind me. I knew I could do it. If I kept myself with the proper nutrition and kept pushing forward, I'd get to that finish line. I would complete my journey and accomplish my goal of completing a 200-mile bike ride in one day. So I kept pushing. And hour after hour, I found myself getting closer and closer to the finish line. 50 miles from the finish line, you get to Alpine, Wyoming, the base of the Snake River that goes up into Jackson Hole. I felt so good that I was through the hardest parts. And so I kept spinning, turning those legs over, even though they were exhausted. I could feel the end coming. And as I rode into Teton Village and saw those beautiful Teton Mountains, what a reward it was to me to know I was going to complete this race. What a great journey it had been to make myself go through some dark areas, some areas where I had to think about, do I give up? And that's a hard place to be. And that's where we can sometimes find ourselves in life, when we have a journey in life, in our work, with our friends, at our schools, that we're going to have hard times where we consider quitting. But we have to always refocus ourselves, have some perspective on what is our end goal here. I'm going to push forward because I want to succeed, and I know I can, because my biggest enemy is my own mind. That evil thought of quitting, I wasn't going to be that guy. And I've thought about that a lot of times in my life when I've gone through hard times. I'm not going to be the guy with his shoes and helmet off, quitting, giving up. I'm going to push forward. I'm going to achieve my goal. And that's my goal for you today. When you have hard things, finish your journey. See it through to the end. I didn't win that race, but I was successful with my goal of completing a difficult race. So, generate great every day. Live Trubiskita. We'll talk again.